Hey, what's happening? I'm Ross. The third quarter GDP numbers are out, so let's not take any time. Let's just get into them. Okay, we're here at the Bureau of Economic Analysis. Gross domestic product GDP third quarter 2022. Real GDP increased at an annual rate of 2.6% in the third quarter of 2022, according to the advanced estimate released by the Bureau of Economic Analysis. In the second quarter, real GDP decreased by 0.6%. So this is quite a turnaround for me. I thought we'd have our third quarter of negative growth. So it looks like that's not the case. 2.6%, and that's quite a turnaround. Because if you look down here, second quarter, like it says, was 2.6 or 0.6% decrease, and that's why it's below the zero line. First quarter, if I recall, was 1.6%. So all in all, from Q2 to Q3, a what 3.2% turnaround, right? To go from negative zero point 0.6 to 2.6. So um, it's quite a big turnaround. Let's see what else they have to say down here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. As usual, I'll leave a link, but I'm going to hit the highlights. The current dollar GDP increased 6.7% at an annual rate, or 414.8 billion in the third quarter, to a level of $25.66 trillion. So the current GDP is $25.66 trillion. The PCE price index increased 4.2% compared with an increase of 7.3% for Q2, right? Excluding food and energy prices, the PCE price index increased 4.5% compared with an increase of 4.7% for second quarter. So this right here, the PCE price index excluding food and energy, that's a very important number because that's the number that the Federal Reserve Board uses to raise interest rates. Should I say dictate their strategy? So if you come to this page in the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index, excluding food and energy, the so-called core price index, right? This is what the Fed mainly uses to dictate their monetary policy, right? Whether they raise or decrease interest rates. So you can see here from May 4.9, June 5.0, July 4.7, August was 4.9, and they haven't come out with September yet. It says September is going to come out October 28th, which is tomorrow. But we can extrapolate. We can go back here and see that they've come out for the quarter, for third quarter, and it was 4.5% compared with an increase of 4.7 for the second quarter. So I said all that to say the Fed will likely be using that number to raise interest rates again. They were already talking about raises interest rates about 75 basis points or 0.75% in November. And these numbers support what they were saying, right? They want to get this number 4.5% down to closer to 2. It's not as bad as it was last quarter. It's 0.2% down, but it's nowhere near 2% where the Fed is aiming. So based on the PCE, the price index, I would say it's almost a guarantee that the Fed is going to raise interest rates because we've got an increase in the core inflation, which is the most important number that they track. It's not the only number that they track, but it's one of the more important numbers. Current dollar personal income increased by 291.2 billion in the third quarter, compared with an increase of 305 billion in the second quarter. The increase primarily reflected increase in compensation led by private wages and salary, the personal income receipts on assets, and personal income receipts on assets. So again, this looks like a number. When you listen to the Fed or any of the president's talk or the governor's talk, they talk about wage inflation. So it looks like salaries are still going up in America. So that's going to give them more reason to raise interest rates, is what I'm thinking. Disposable personal income increased 268.3 billion or 6% in the third quarter, compared with an increase of 253.3 billion or 5.7% in the second quarter. So disposable income is up quite a bit. Real disposable personal income increased 1.7%, in contrast to a decrease of 1.5% for last quarter. I don't know if that necessarily translates into people's everyday personal lives. I don't feel like I have more disposable income. I'll tell you that much. But you know, the numbers are out there. Don't forget, it's an election year, so personal savings was 626.1 billion in the third quarter, compared with 629 billion in the second quarter. The personal savings rate as a percentage of disposable income was 3.3% in third quarter compared to 3.4% in the fourth quarter. So our personal savings rate went down, and the overall amount of personal savings went down by about 3 billion, 3.1 billion. So that's not a good thing. Overall, I'm pretty shocked that the third quarter numbers are as good as they are. Now, this is the advanced report, so there will be time for them to adjust it. Maybe they go back a little bit, but I don't see them going back, 2.6%. So, it's a pretty good thing for the economy, I suppose. Now, I think what it does mean is it means that the interest rates are definitely going to go up. I know there was I think the Fed was facing some pressure from some politicians and some powerful people to kind of take it easy on the interest rates. But I think with the numbers the way they are, with the GDP coming out in positive territory, avoiding that third negative territory, the PCE, the core index, going up like it did at 4.5%. Even though it's up less than it was in the second quarter, it's still nowhere near the 2% that the Fed is looking for. Unemployment is at the unemployment numbers came out for September. Non-farm payroll employment increased by 263,000 in September, and the unemployment rate edged down to 3.5%. I guess what I'm saying is the Fed has room to move, right? They have room to move aggressively. The unemployment is pretty low. The GDP numbers come out pretty good. Inflation is, while its growth is slowing, it's not anywhere near where they need to be. So I think the Fed will definitely raise rates in November. We won't get another GDP number before December when they meet again. I think they meet November 1st, the 2nd, and then they meet December 13th and 14th. So I predict that we're going to have two more interest rate hikes before the end of the year. So, but of course, I am just some rando on the internet. You should do your own research. If you got any value out of this video, please consider hitting the like button or maybe even a subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it would help me out immensely. Okay, I appreciate it. Peace.